The BlackWidow V2. It's about time I get my hands on this keyboard. I'm Reivew and welcome to Reivew Keyboards. At a glance, the thing I would really notice from the OG Chroma is the indicator lights on the right corner. To be honest, I'm one of those people that didn't really mind the style of the original Chroma because I rarely look at the spot to see if I push the buttons. But it's really nice that they made the change because it's a lot easier to tell if you toggle them. The font also looks a lot more professional than the original, and I really like it because it gives this keyboard that extra bit of class. Then again, this is a gaming keyboard, so it seems out of place, but I'm glad it's there. The little details is where this keyboard shines because they use a different material for the outer shell, making it more smudge resistance to keep the keyboard looking fresh long after you purchase it. I noticed that the secondary functions aren't lit up, such as the @ symbol on the top number rows and the functions on the F key. To some people this is a minor setback, but to others this could be a deal breaker because you are paying $170 retail, and how come they just can't get this right? Personally, it's not a big deal because I typically replace keycaps for my daily driver, so this shouldn't be that much of an issue. Then again, I can understand that if you're paying this high of a premium, you do expect the complete package. The keyboard has the enclosed design where the keys are protected by plastic, which some of you may like because there's this crumple zone if you ever drop the keyboard. For others, this could be a deal breaker because it's really tough to clean the keyboard. If you are used to cleaning keyboards with floating key design, then this is going to be an issue because it's going to be really tough to get those little corners. The keyboard has an ISO layout, so it might be harder to find keycaps replacement for, but I think more and more companies are including custom keycaps for the ISO layout, so it might just be better in the future. Over the course of using this keyboard, I noticed the glossy parts of the board will still collect dust pretty easily, so be mindful of that when buying the board. If you are new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, then hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for the latest content. At this point, I no longer know what switch company Razer is using for their switches, but one thing I can say is that this keyboard is consistent through and through. Then again, it could just be the one particular board that is consistent, so let me know in the comments down below if you have any inconsistency issues with your BlackWidow V2. The lights are on the top of the switch, but they seem to have this protective layer of plastic, which makes me think that the layer of plastic is there to protect the lights from being hit every time I press the key. The bottom line for the switch is that we don't know, or I don't know, who is the switch manufacturer, so this is why I'm seeing a lot of reviewers saying that it's Razer's in-house switch, which could be true. If I can find the facts to back things up, then yeah, that's great. This could be a proven switch, but at the end of the day, only time will tell, and this is something you might just have to take a chance on. I'm surprised that this keyboard uses Co-Star stabilizers when the BlackWidow X uses Cherry. I guess they want the preciseness of the Co-Star stabilizer because this is a gaming keyboard, so accuracy does play a role. Then again, this could just be all in my head, so I'm not sure how the reasoning behind the Co-Star stabilizers, but it's really annoying when you have to clean the keyboard. This combination of Co-Star stabilizer and enclosed design is the worst because it's extremely annoying to clean. If you own these types of keyboards, then consider only cleaning them at certain intervals, or just clean as much as you can without taking out the keycaps because it is the stuff of nightmares. The joking aside, the keyboard will be annoying to clean, but if you don't mind or you don't plan on cleaning your keyboard, then by all means. I know people that use a keyboard until it's really dirty, then sell them off at next to nothing to get a new one. Razer uses the typical thin ABS on their keyboards because it's what other big name competitions is doing, so they can get away with this. That, and also the average consumer for this product doesn't know the difference between higher quality keycaps like PBT, or they just don't care, so you will be seeing thin ABS on more expensive keyboards, which is a bummer, but it's just market condition. If you want big name companies to use higher quality keycaps, then share this video, spread the message, make sure you have all of your friends watch it, because this is how you make our voices heard. Besides the quality of the keycaps, I really like the font of the keycaps because it looks very professional despite the rest of the board leaning towards the gamer side. This is the perfect wrist rest. I really wanted to end this section with that sentence, but if you're new to the channel, then you may not know why. This wrist rest is pillowy soft. It's magnetic, so you don't have to worry about breaking the wrist rest like the ones with those small plastic hooks. I would say this is a selling point, but let's be honest, most of you wouldn't buy the entire keyboard for the wrist rest. Now I did say that most of you, so there's a few of you that will buy this keyboard for the wrist rest, and if you do, then just know that you get a pretty awesome keyboard with that wrist rest as well. I honestly think the wrist rest game is perfected with the V2. I would be surprised if someone managed to make something that surpassed this wrist rest. The flip-up feet does have rubber on them, so the keyboard will be planted during heavy gaming and typing sessions. The rubber pads on the board does a great job at keeping the board planted when angled down. The keyboard does have USB and audio pass-through, which to me is a selling point because I often use USB pass-through. Can't really say the same for audio pass-through, but it's nice to know that it's there. I would like the pass-through to be on top instead of the right, but it's a very minor issue. The cable is braided. I believe the USB tip is gold, but it seems like it's bronze to me. So comment down below and let me know, what does the USB tip seem like to you, and if you like braided cable or gold plated USB tips. We can't talk about this keyboard without mentioning the lighting. The BlackWidow Chroma V2 is such a fantastic light show with all of the various default lighting settings, plus new settings from users in the Razer website. A good portion of your money goes towards the lighting aspect of the board, because let's be honest, you're spending the extra premium on the lighting and the software. For the lighting, it's not as bright this time around because of the keycaps, but you can solve this by going aftermarket, so it should not be much of an issue. One of the things I would like in the V3, if they decide to make one, is the indicators to be RGB as well, and the secondary functions to be lit up out of the box. Depending on where you get the aftermarket keycaps, you might not get the keycap set with secondary functions on them. The light shines very brightly, and it's certainly a spectacle when other people come over to my place and check out the keyboard. I know some of you might not want to admit it, but I'm sure that you want to buy an RGB keyboard to show off the lighting effects, and this is a great keyboard to do that. The software is very user-friendly, and recently they have released a beta version of their new software, which is aimed directly at Corsair's Q. This is nice because the keyboard didn't have layers before, or at least to my knowledge, and this new software gives the keyboard the ability to have layered lighting effects. If you belong to the crowd of not knowing why people often buy big name gaming keyboards, the answer is the software. It's because they are the big name companies and they can devote time and effort to perfecting the software and give the users more effects than the time when they first purchased the keyboard. This gives the keyboard a longer life because there are new features, and the consumers will be happy that they spent the extra premium on choosing the big names. Another reason for going with big name gaming keyboards is the community that stood behind it. Razer, Corsair, Logitech have huge communities uploading their lighting profiles constantly to the websites. I didn't know people would buy these big name gaming keyboards when I first started getting into mechanical keyboards, but the more keyboards I get to play with, the more I understand the mentality behind going with the big name keyboard manufacturers. When I first pressed the keys on this keyboard, I was hooked. It was love at first type because the keyboard has this right amount of force for the keys, and the sound it produces is simply awesome. I did not know I would enjoy typing on this keyboard this much because all of the other Razer keyboards have been a mixed bag. Check out my other Razer videos in the description below that like button to see what I'm talking about. The problem is that I don't know if I can get the same keyboard if I were to buy this in the future because Razer uses cherry clones. And I don't even know who is the company that made these clone switches. So there's a good chance that the next BlackWidow V2 won't sound as good or feel as good as this one. The keyboard is consistent, as in all of the keys feel the same amount of weight and sound about the same, but the clone switches is a whole other consistency that I have to worry about if I plan on permanently using this keyboard in the future. The keyboard that is in this review is great because the strokes and the transitions from key to key is buttery smooth and it sounds amazing. This is a great keyboard for MMO gamers and video editors because you get a bank of macro keys and you can macro every single key. If you mainly play FPS, then consider getting the yellow switch version of this board because it's basically the MX speed switches, so you should be able to double tap really quickly for the most bang for your buck. If you're an RTS gamer, then there is value with the ability to macro, and you might also want to give the yellow switch a try too if your game requires lots of double tapping. For me, I mainly play both FPS and RTS, but I also type equally as much as playing video games, so I'm going with the green because it sounds awesome and it's really nice for longer typing sessions. This is a premium keyboard, and if you're watching this video, then you have a pretty good idea of how the price is retail. Just in case if you don't know, and keep in mind that pricing is always subject to change, but you can find this keyboard in the high 160s. I have seen this keyboard dipped down to the mid 120s during the holiday sales event. So I will put the link to the keyboard in the description down below, that like button for you to check out. Remember to click on the link regularly to get the best deal possible. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed yet, then hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to become part of the mighty notification squad. As always, have an awesome day.